Which of these is not classed as? Which of these is a term used to? Which of these capital cities is for? Which of these is a Greek god? The overseas highway connect. Which of these birds lays the largest? Which of these artists was born earlier? Which of these sportsmen is a pew? In which state was the Woodstock Fest? Which of these films was adapted from a? Which of these did not win a Nobel Peace? Which of these is an old term for a tomato? Which of these was invented first? Which of these means difficult? Which of these Meryl Streep? Which of these is a middle name of king? Chili con carne is a traditional dish in which of these states has never? Which of these is a slogan? Which of these is the title? Which of these woodwind in? Which of these languages was derived? Which of these is a trade similar to? Which of these is the name of? Which of these is a character? Which of these performers? Which of these was most known? Which of these cheeses comes? A frontal lobe. Which of these is the type? What would you be most likely to? Which of the? What part of an egg is used to make a Normandy fish sauce? The adjective labros means to have big what? What is the smallest species of seal? Which singer founded the Paisley Park record label in 1980? Roughly how old was Joan of Arc when she died in 14? Which Asian capital city has the airport code PEC? Which Matthew plays a truant in a cult 1986 film? Which Matthew plays a What name was given to the first cloned cat? What does the word desiccated mean? Entertainer Bing Crosby died just after finishing what? What was the first country to win the FIFA World Cup twice? In Indian cookery, what are koftas? What word describes a species that no longer exists? Who does Timothy Spall play in the film Mr. Turner? What name is given to the block at the end of a violin bow? What name is given to? What sort of structure is St. Mark's Basilica in Venice? Which playwright and poet is known as the Bard of Avon? At a bullfight, where are the cheapest seats? The cervical vertebrae are found in what part of the body? The cervical vertebrae are. What hit by Bauer became a YouTube craze? Pearl Harbor was bombed in December of which year? The name of the skateboard trick 900 refers to what? François Naz is a professional what? The organ known as the syrinx allows a bird to do what? Which Asian country's currency is the dong? Spain and what other country share the Iberian Peninsula? Joey the Lips is a character in what musical? Which two of Henry VIII's wives were executed?